Hi, this is Puvili from Informatica Global Customer Support. In this video, we'll get to know how to enable Verbose logging for web service consumer transformation and understanding what is web service consumer transformation in B2B IICS. So coming to what is web service transformation is, it basically enables the integration of REST or SOAP-based web services into your data pipelines. So it allows the Informatica jobs to call external web service to either fetch, send or process the data. Since nowadays in real-time business it is often needed to interact with external systems dynamically, so it allows fetching data from external APIs or sending data to them during this ETL process. So it has two, like REST API which has a Swagger JSON file for structure, which is the common used in nowadays. Other one is SOAP-based API, which is in an XML format where XST is the structure for that schema. So coming to real-time example, nowadays we are using more e-commerce order and status tracking applications. So when a customer enters a customer ID and order ID, Informatica will fetch that order ID and customer ID and calls that API using this web service consumer transformation. And now this API will respond with order tracking details like the date and all the over the details of that tracking. Now Informatica is going to parse and store the response in database in a relational table format. So finally this updated tracking details will be visible in customer screen, which is passed as a JSON or REST API in the format. So here this API response format is being parsed using web service consumer transformation, which is JSON to relational format. So now we will see how this actually works in the backend with all this parsing. So how exactly this parsing work in the sense? So here the source data will be the API data which customer enters the customer ID and order ID. Now this web service consumer transformation will send a request to API and also it will get some response. And here comes two picture, like one is hierarchical to relational and other is relational to hierarchy. So this is handled by the data parser actually. So this data parser will get the data as a hierarchical, which is the order ID and customer ID from this API, and this will insert into a DB and it will filter out according to customer's requirement into the database, which is a relational format. Again, that relational format response will be given to API as a hierarchical format. Those transformations are handled by this data parser, which is inbuilt in this web service consumer transformation. So this is going to call the API for API request, then it will give the response with the customer ID and order ID. Now this data parser will convert the API response to table format and inserts in DB, and here this hierarchy parser will filter out according to your condition and it will change that format. Now again this target transformation like hierarchy parser will act as a source transformation and gives the data. Now this is going to convert the relational data to hierarchical. Now this data parser will ensure that that the hierarchical data is matched with the structure of this API request format or not. Now this will respond and this goes to the customer screen. Now customers can be easily able to view all those tracking details. So this is how the backend process of web service consumer will work. So okay, now if we are facing any issue or if we are not getting a correct response or format, then there comes the verbose logging mode. So we will see what is this verbose logging. So this actually helps in troubleshooting by providing detailed loggings and insights into this request and response, everything. So this is going to capture full request, whatever sent to web service, and it also records the exact response what we are getting from the API. So mostly it is used in if there is any issues with the data passed, it is corrupted or it is going to be incorrect, not expected data is coming out. At that point, this verbose logging is used. So we'll jump into a quick demo now. So I have a mapping task with web service consumer transformation. So this is going to be my connection, the web service consumer connection. So here is my endpoint URL and here is my WSDL URL. I'm giving it as a WSDL one. So let's see. So I'm giving just a simple calculation web service. So here source is a flat file. So this should be a relational to hierarchy because my source file is already a relational. It is CSV file. I will show you my input file as well. So this is my input file. I am giving a 4, 5. So when it goes to calculation of add parameter, then add operation, then it should be 9. So let's see how this works. So here in the web service, I am giving the business service, whatever I am using, the connection. So once I enter that business service where I have configured this connection, so that will get the operation, like whether it is add or whatever the operation. So I have given the operation as add. So this I have to get it again in the relational format as the target one. Okay, so let me show you a quick recap of verbose data mode logging. So this is my non-verbose mode. So here I cannot view any API response request details. There will be only the details of basic things like what is endpoint URL, what is source it is used, which web service consumer transformation we are using. Those things will be mentioned in the non-verbose mode loggings. So here you can see the endpoint URL, whatever we have mentioned in the connection details. Okay, but while coming to verbose logging, we can view all the details like how this DT parser, the data transformation parser is working, how it is getting H2R and R2H response and request and all. So see, I can view here it is relational to hierarchy in the transformation because I am giving the data as a source, so it has to be a relational to hierarchical. So I can view this here. So here it is going to take a input of everything from the API. So here you can see whatever we have given as int a and int b is 4, 5. So it has taken that one. From the API response, it has taken as int a and int b because we have mentioned it as like that. The structure is like that. So it has also taken the operation that we have chosen. Now we will see how it is responding. So SOAP message to call to that endpoint is also mentioned. So response from endpoint is already got. So no issues with the response here. Okay, now it is parsing from hierarchical to relational transformation. So we can see the output is 9. It has given the result, add result as a 9. So it has already written to the file and it also got the response clearly out. Here also we can see it is 9. So this way we can see if there is any issue with the transformation in our mapping or if there is any issues with the API response itself. So this is how the verbose logging will be useful in troubleshooting. So when coming to how to enable verbose mode logging, we have two ways actually. If you want to enable it for all the executions, whatever you have under your DIS, you can do that in this administrator page. You can choose your runtime environment and you can go to your data integration service. So I'm going to edit here. You have a custom configuration details. Here you have to add a variable like data integration server and it is DTM. Here I am choosing log level and here you have to mention as debug. You just have to save it so that all the jobs under this DIS will be enabled with the verbose mode. Or if you want to enable only for any specific one, then you can go with mapping task. In the mapping task, you can go for edit here. So here in this runtime options, you can choose it for the execution mode as a verbose. If you want to specifically do it for any one mapping task which has a web service consumer transformation, you can enable over it here and you can just save it. It is already in a verbose mode, so it is grayed out for save. You can just run the mapping task. So this way we can get to know if there is any issues with the hierarchical, the transformation of data parser or the response itself, we are getting the issue. Thanks for watching out this video. If you have any feedback, we would love to hear from you. Please reach out to us on mentioned support videos at informatica.com. Thank you.